Welcome to another conversation with the Brothers of Two Complex. We appreciate y'all for clicking on this video. But before we get into the content, make sure you like the video, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the bangers that we drop every single week. We appreciate the support. Enjoy the video.
Let's continue with the beef that is now apparently over. I believe that both parties have mentioned, or at least Kendrick side. I don't know. Kendrick's side is kind of conflicting because at one point early in the week he said he had more in the clip for Drake, and I think yesterday TDE came out and said, since the beef is over, let's talk about who won and all that and whatnot. Gotcha. And he said that the culture won. But anyway, so Drake and Kendrick have brought a lot of conversations with their beef to the forefront of Black culture through their dialogue back and forth with their tracks. Colorism, childhood dynamics, hypocrisy, profiting off of the culture, violence, so on and so forth. So, Six, how do you feel about the conversations that are being had in the Black community about the different aspects that were highlighted during this beef? Do you think it is productive, or do you think it will be productive, or does it add to the differences that we seem to have within the culture already?
I think both. I'm kind of 50-50 on this conversation because as far as a culture, hip hop itself won within this. You know what I'm saying? Because as you know, I've said this numerous times on this podcast that rap music right now is trash. It's trash, bro. And this right here brought out a side of hip hop that we know from growing up in hip hop, growing up in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Late 80s, early 90s. Growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s, for real. We did a segment on that about a month or so ago. So I think hip hop, the culture of hip hop and music won within this beef. But I also think that as a culture of our people, it was kind of cringy to hear the kind of things that this showed America what we go through in Black culture. You know what I'm saying? So what do you
mean by that actually though?
As far as should I say it happens in other cultures, but it's kind of, how should I say this? It happens in our culture. It happens in all cultures, but our community is the ones that is highlighted in more often than not. So say for instance, like single mothers, deadbeat dads, right?
Yep.
How
heavily highlighted in our community.
It happens in all cultures, but heavily highlighted in our community.
Right.
The fact that Drake brought out the information that Kendrick may or may not have allegedly was essayed as a child.
Well, he said that in Mr. Morale's big segment.
But he said it. He did. Well, he did. You're right. He did. I just didn't want it. I wanted to allegedly.
Yeah, that's what
we
he
didn't
said.
say that.
We didn't.
They say that. but and it's a lot of things in these songs that they were talking about as far as Drake being a ghostwriter. They always talk about how our artists ghostwrite more often than not. But it's one of those things where it's like, damn, dog, like it's highlighting a lot of things that shouldn't be highlighted and that we're trying to change in the community. And I don't know really how I feel about it. But then I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up now since we're talking about it. We have people in our community telling white folk they can't have these conversations because they ain't Black. And that's insane to me. That's insane to me. And I think I brought this up to you earlier in the week about how DJ Vlad, who is a DJ, who is in the hip hop community, who interviews artists all the time and talks about hip hop and goes on syndicated shows talking about hip hop, who is a white guy who's been in this industry for a decade now, over a decade, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And all of a sudden now Kendrick and Drake are beefing. And now DJ Vlad is told by a Princeton professor, a Black young lady, that he need to stay out of Black folk business, stay out of Black affairs. Like, come on, bro. Like,
I think that's just with the profiting portion of it, though, because DJ Vlad, he's been said to be a culture vulture for
he
some
has
time
been
now.
He has been.
And
yeah.
I think what the professor from Princeton was trying to say is like we need to police our culture a little bit more rather than just letting anybody in. I know DJ Vlad. I've seen a few of his interviews, and I know he highlights oftentimes he highlights some of the negative affairs that go on within Black culture. But he also highlights some positive ones as well. But I think because of the types of interviews that he does, a lot of the people within the culture, the Black community, feel like he's just taking advantage of the negative more so than the positive and using it to his advantage, which is another one of the hypocrisies that I was talking about, and then the profiting off of the culture that have been highlighted in this beef. Because I mean, like now they're saying Drake can't profit off of our culture,
but
you know what I mean?
Drake is half Black. It don't make no sense. Like that's what that's
the whole colorism, right? This whole
with colorism,
like
this whole thing is
it's
insane. So it's one of those things where it's like, bro, like. But back to the DJ Vlad thing real quick, and I'll get off of it.
Nah, take your time, bro. Do what you do.
Is he? If he's a culture vulture, okay, is he one? I would say yes, but in the same instance, it's like, are we above criticism that a man, regardless of color, can't criticize something about us? Are we above that? Like, we can't be above criticism. We can't be above accountability, and none of us can. So if he's pointing out something negative, then shit, take accountability and say it was wrong or say it's terrible.
Did he say exactly? I don't even know.
He said, and I was on DJ Vlad's side on this, and I don't even know why he retracted. He ended up coming out and apologizing to the girl for hitting up Princeton and basically
that's why he retracted.
But I wouldn't have if I was DJ Vlad. To be perfectly honest with you, I'd have been like, I'm leaving it where it's at. To be perfectly honest, and because I don't care. But either way, what he said was Kendrick's Not Like Us needed a better mix. It takes away from the song, which. But I don't agree with him. But that's all. He didn't say nothing wrong. He didn't say nothing bad. He didn't say anything bad about Kendrick or Drake. He didn't say. That's all he said. And the young lady said, "You are white. This is a black folk affair." And I'm just like, okay. So then he goes on to say, "Wait. So a professor at Princeton is telling me that a white person shouldn't be allowed to voice their opinion about hip hop. Is that how you interact with your students?" And they kind of go back and forth from there. But. I'm about to try to find.
Try to do there.
You see what I'm saying?
You're a Black professor at Princeton. And you're telling me I see what you try to do there.
But that's another thing about colorism, the culture, things of that nature, right? So it's one of those things where DJ Vlad does take a lot of slack for being a white guy in the hip hop community, and he is a culture vulture, high key, but. I didn't see nothing wrong with what he said. Is he right about what he said? Probably not. The mix was great on Not Like Us. It's a banger these days. Like, people in the club banging it now. Like, what are you talking about? But
not actually banging, but
What you mean by that?
Because it's a West Coast beat banging.
Oh, I got you. Okay, but people
that was over here. It's okay.
A little bit. Well, I wanted to make sure I was going the right direction that you was going.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. No.
Nah, I won't think about. Mattress actresses. I won't think about that. But it's one of those things where, bro, like, why can't somebody just have an opinion? Like, you ain't gonna come on just because we Black. We can't. We can talk about it, but somebody else can't. That don't make no sense, bro. Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those things where the hip hop won in this because it forced Kendrick to not take 6 years to make music again, and he back to back throwing out hip hop, throwing out rap, and actually. Somebody conscious who we love to hear to talk about hip hop or spit verses and bars. We loved it. Drake, who is a pop icon, is out here actually rapping and not singing. So it's like, it was good for hip hop. He did. Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like, bro, like, there's so much stuff that us as a community go through already. Like, why are we out here highlighting this? Like, they could have did what people in the past did and left it to one banger and hit the road, but they both put out 4 songs, and Kendrick won the beef. So that's what I feel about it, man. What you think? How you feel about this whole situation with the culture, bro?
So I feel the same way you feel. I feel like it will start out as productive, but ultimately it'll cause more division than anything. And the reason I think it'll be a productive conversation is because it started the conversation, right? Typically we just house or hone in our beliefs and we don't want anybody else to try to change them or whatnot. We'll have we'll argue our side on about it, but never really hear the other side. And so that's what's happening. Like, the conversation is actually happening. People already feel how they feel about it, but because the conversation's being had, they're out there saying what they need to say, how they already feel, not really engaging in an actual dialogue to understand the other side, but just, spitting out what they heard and saying, yeah, this is why this is that way. I think Kendrick introduced or created the narrative for Drake in many different fashions, where he tried to assassinate his character, talked about colorism, talked about profiting off of the culture, talked about what else he talked about? Talked about his family dynamic and how he was raised and why he can't be a part of the culture, right? And so that permeates throughout our culture, because we have so many different shades within the Black community, which, other cultures, other races have, but is really highlighted already in the Black community, and causes division. Lighthearted jokes here and there, but a lot of colorists have, a lot of feelings have been hurt in the past because of the shade of skin, right? He talked about Drake being half Black, and how he can't say the N-word anymore, and so to me being light skinned, right? I don't think that I'm biracial, but down the line somewhere, I'm probably closer to white than I am Black. I don't know, but that caused a lot of friction. Or I felt some type of way about that, because, like, well, damn, like, if Drake can't say the N-word, and he's been saying it for so long, you telling other people that they can't say the N-word. Like, I don't know. It's just,
I got a cousin. My cousin. I got a cousin lighter than both of y'all, and his mama Black.
With it. Yeah,
hard with it. He go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. You know who you is. Shout out to you, cousin. But he lighter than both of y'all, and he, I guess, pause. Yeah. But
with it. But anyway.
Oh yeah, go ahead. But I ain't mean to cut you off. But yeah, he lighter than both of y'all, and he say the N-word, and nobody, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, but go ahead.
But these are the type of conversations that have been started now, right? Like, with his wife being biracial by definition, by his definition, because her dad, well, for what we know, and again, this is what the internet says, we don't know this for sure, but by her dad being Black, her mom being biracial, she's biracial. So can she not say that? She not say nigga around the house? You know what I mean? So these are the type of conversations that are starting to be had because of this beef. And I think it's good that conversations are had, but ultimately I think it divides more division because of the new thought processes that are being put in place, with the different aspects as we have already.
Exactly, man. I mean, there's so many. If he's saying that about Drake, he can say that about so many other rappers in the industry. That Cole should not be saying. Cole should not be saying it. Lotto should not be saying it. Logic should not be saying it. Like, but they all say the N-word. So you need to say this about everybody. You know what I'm saying? But now you got
Fat
Drake
Joe.
House facts. But but I mean, he not Black. You know what I'm saying? He say it. You know what I'm saying? He not of the African American culture. You know what I'm saying?
It brings out these different conversations that need to be had, or just need to be like, okay, we need to have some rules set in place. But it's a culture, man. A lot of people want to be involved in the culture because it of the influence that it has. Like,
for sure,
you can go back into the inception of hip hop and look at the influence that it's had on products being moved across industries or whatever, how people dress, how people talk, so on and so forth. So everybody wants to be, I wouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people want to be involved in this culture because of the influence that it has, because of how impactful it is, because of the lives that it's touched. And for us to say that people can't be a part of the culture because they weren't raised a certain way or because their skin is a certain color, I don't think that's right. Now, should there be certain things that they sit out, certain conversations that they sit out? Absolutely, because it's not pertaining to them specifically. But can they be a spectator? Absolutely. Can they maybe chime in here and there with experiences that they had within their culture to offer us help and not hurt the culture? Yes.
But it's one of those things too now where Drake house getting shot up and his, you know what I'm saying? And not saying that it was not saying that it was anybody from Kendrick's camp, but like now this beef has got like, come on, bro. Like it's now at that point, it's going too far. You know what I'm saying? I know we joked about it last week. I know we joked about it. I was thinking piece it up, like, run the ones, you know what I'm saying? I need to get my one-on-one, but D-Lo was like, peace. Peace. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Let's bring the peace back.
Now he's getting too far. But I mean, it's so much hypocrisy that's going on now where people just have a different take about this beef and in the direction that it's going now. A lot of the culture, like you said, people engage in it and people enjoy it because of the influence that it has. There's a lot of influence out there now that I'm going to keep my young ladies away. Like, young ladies, stay away from that culture. Stay away from it, please. If you don't mind, please stay away from it. But I mean, it's so influential that sometimes you gotta listen, and I understand it 100%.